I've worked with the Abraham Principles over the years, and there have been many people that have vibrated right out of my life because my energy was no longer a match for their energy. And so how can I have a mutually pleasurable relationship with someone whose personality and attitude I would not normally choose to have in my life? But for particular family reasons, I have a strong desire and need to interact with this one. So in addition to attending good feeling interactions between us, what else can I do to ensure continuous pleasant experiences with this one this next week and in the years ahead? And an add-on to that is, are we always responsible energy-wise for the way someone treats us or interacts with us?
Yes, always.
I thought you'd say that.
In relationships where you are interacting with others, especially close-up relationships, it's harder to accept that you are the creator of your own reality because here's this other bugger clearly creating. And sometimes as they offer things to you that don't feel so good, you'd like to give them some of the credit. In fact, many of you would like to give them all of the credit, because if they would behave better, you would feel better, and we don't disagree with that. But to give up the empowerment that comes from knowing that you attract for the sake of a little relief that blame gives you. In other words, we know that sometimes it just feels better to say, well, if they were nicer, I'd feel better. And it's true, you would. But to say, it's up to me to choose the way I feel about all things gives you utter empowerment. And the more you apply it and play the game of reaching for the positive aspects, the more you realize the creative control you have in your experience. Esther had a really funny experience that happened at the last workshop. She was feeling the flow of the workshop. She's not really focused upon the words that are being spoken so much as feeling the energy of the flow. And she was feeling very, very good. She felt like she was flying, sort of soaring. And as she went at the end of the workshop, we'd been talking about the value of fun and making the best of each moment and that sort of thing. And Esther got on an elevator. Now, at the same hotel was another group of people that were meeting for a totally different reason. And Jerry and Esther had noticed this group of women moving about and had found them to be very pleasant. But the energy of that group was very different from the energy of this group. They had very different intentions and motives involved in their meeting. And so Esther had sort of been noticing them, but she had not thought much about them other than that they were there, and other than that during the segments that both groups were sort of mixing together. But Esther had not concluded anything strong for or against them. And coming from the gathering, she was thinking about how fun this group of people is that had gathered around her at this seminar. And she got on the elevator, and as the elevator door closed, Esther looked around and realized that she was one of 10 people on the elevator, and the other 9 were all part of the other group. It was a hotel with many floors, and someone said, "What floor would you like?" She was going to drive the elevator for everyone. And Esther said, "Lingerie, please." And all of the other women began to laugh. Esther had already pushed her button for the top floor. And the other women began to laugh. And Esther felt so satisfied as she was bathed in the energy of that laughter. In other words, it felt fun that they were playing together, even though they did not know one another. And then one of the other women said, "I would like to go to the bargain basement." And another woman said, "Not me, I want to go to the penthouse." And another woman said, "Let's stop on every floor and just see what's there." And Esther thought, I sort of started this, but I don't know where it came from. And somehow or other, we're just parlaying off of each other. In other words, the women started leaving one floor after another, and with each one, Esther is saying, "Goodbye." And she was feeling like, "Goodbye, dear friend, whom I will probably never meet again, with whom I've shared this lovely moment and enjoyed it immensely." In other words, there was something about being in that place of pure positive energy, and whatever they were doing, they were there too. And so together, they just had this moment in time. Now, anybody who wasn't there and who wasn't playing with it would have a hard time feeling the intimacy of it and the fullness of it. But Esther got off of the elevator feeling like she had new friends all over the world that she had not even begun to tap the resources. And it was easier for her to evoke that perfect moment in time from a room full of strangers than it ever would have been from a room full of people that she knows. Because when you get on an elevator or in a life situation with people you know, your expectation of them almost always gives you a repeat of whatever you've lived before. So there's something awfully refreshing about evoking newly and discovering the power of your ability to attract. We would encourage you to begin by saying to yourself, I'm going to start noticing my ability, my power of attraction. And begin it with strangers. In other words, start playing on elevators. Start talking to people in the grocery store. Start making a decision that from a place of no expectation, you're going to see what your point of attraction is. And what you begin to notice is people are nice to you everywhere. Your point of attraction, when it is absent of negative expectation, is in a very, very good place. So wonderful things come from wonderful people everywhere you go. People yield for you in traffic. Esther loves it when she looks in the rear view camera when she's wanting to change lanes, only to see that someone is blinking their lights at her saying, I'm waiting for you to come over. Come on over. And Esther has a little button on her steering wheel where she can blink back, which means thank you very much. She wishes that she had a big neon sign that would flash a big blinking heart that says, I love you too. In other words, there are people all over the world that are just wanting to dance in a joyful way. And when you are as you are and you get into this rhythm of well-being, then it shows up everywhere except where you don't expect it to show up. And so the tricky thing about what you're asking here is that you've already given a sort of pronouncement. You already sort of know who this person is. You've already noted that you don't quite jive. And so you got to forget that you don't jive in order to ever jive. And what you have to begin to realize or remember is that you have jiving points, matching points, with every single human on this planet. In other words, there's not one with whom you have not many more points of harmony than less points of harmony. So as you start playing the game with strangers, then you can start playing it with these hard cases, so to speak. The thing about deliberate creating and tending to your own vibration is that as you begin to discover that you can feel the way you want to feel on purpose, and you begin to notice that people begin responding to the way you feel, it becomes more and more apparent that people respond to you in the same way you respond to them. We've never seen you have a strong opinion of not liking someone without them having the same strong opinion about you. In other words, you have taught one another your vibration. And so when you decide that you're going to change your vibrational stance relative to someone, you have to rebuild your relationship with them from the ground up. You cannot keep repeating what is and change it. You have to start over. And the way you start over is by getting a notebook and listing the positive aspects that come to mind most easily and amplifying them in your mind. You have to retrain yourself. You have to learn how to activate a different part of them in you. And the thing that's tricky about deliberate creating is that you don't think that you were vibrating there before they showed that part to you. And in some cases you weren't. You were born into families. You were hired into situations. In other words, there's a whole lot of stuff going on all around you. And as you become an observer of something that you don't want, and you don't realize that you are early on by feeling the hand on the stove so you don't withdraw from it, sometimes you let things get activated within you before you've even realized that you've done it, and then it feels like there's hardly anything that you can do about it because they keep showing it to you, you keep seeing it, they keep showing it to you, you keep seeing it. And you say, well, if they'd stop showing it to me, I'd stop seeing it. And we say, if you'll stop seeing it, they'll stop showing it to you. And you say, you mean that characteristic will go away from them? And we say, no. But they can't give you one radio station while you have activated another. So if you, when you're not with them, are activating other things within you, you will begin bringing different things from them. It depends upon what's activated within you and the timing of your rendezvous. Now, this is what we wanted to come around to. The timing of your rendezvous has to do with what's most activated within you. Everyone has many different characteristics. So if you work to activate a characteristic that feels good to you, the universe will help you to rendezvous with them when they are ready or able to present that. You'll help to solicit it from them, but they will be more ready on the spot to deliver it anyway, you see. So that, like meeting with strangers on an elevator that are ready to play, it was all because they were in that vibrational vicinity even before any of them got there. You're not going to jump into the middle of something and change the mood of it like that by intensely holding your focus. Instead, what you're wanting to do is practice it so that you can allow the universe to deliver to you the timing of the rendezvous. Because there are people out there who are going to have traffic accidents. There are people out there that are going to have playful fits on elevators. And how they line up with you has to do not with them as far as you are concerned, only with your vibrational stance. So, of course, the more playful you are and the more joyful you are, then the more you line up with more of those kinds of things. But as it regards deliberately intending to interact with a specific individual in a different way than you have before, you have to activate within yourself consistently a different vibration than you have been activating. And they will become a different person for you. Are you stepping on their creational toes? No, because they are that person anyway. You're just lining up with a different aspect of them. Sort of like Esther's relationship with weather. She wants it to rain everywhere she goes so that it is beautiful and the land is happy. She just doesn't want any of the rain to fall on her. And the universe can accommodate that. In other words, the universe can accommodate that because it's all about timing, isn't it? And timing is about your inspiration to move, your inspiration and your ability to interact within the inspiration. Timing is about getting an impulse and following it at the precise time. You ask for the advanced course.
I'm getting it.
Be playful. We really make too much of all of this. You could have one sentiment that you leave this gathering with, and it would serve you for the next 20 years of delicious, deliberate creating. And that would be, I'm just going to start making the best of things. I'm going to make the best of this person. I'm going to make the best of this conversation. I'm going to take that comment that was offered to me, and I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to make the best of this meal that I'm eating, even though I've eaten better. I'm going to make the best of this bed that I'm sleeping in, even though I've slept in better. I'm going to make the best of this bumpy road, even though I've driven on smoother. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to make the best of it. And as you do, more of the best of more of the things start rendezvousing with you. The alternative, the opposite, is saying, I'm not liking what I'm rendezvousing with. It needs to change. And then you get so frustrated because it won't change. It doesn't even know how to change. You're not a long enough factor in its experience to really change, even if you're married to it. Really. Good.
Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.